This is a list of topics I predict will come up on paper 3. Here are all the algebra topics that haven't come up in paper 1 and paper 2 and what you need to focus on ready for your next exam. So look at this list carefully and then look at the questions which I've prepared linking to this list that may help you in the exam coming up. This is a question on algebraic proof. Have a read of the question, highlight any keywords in your exam. So this question is a show that question, so you must show exactly what you have to do to be able to get the answer to show that you have got consecutive numbers, and it will be worth 2 marks in the exam. So you've got 2 to the power of 40, take away 1. The product means multiply. And these consecutive odd numbers, so remember an odd number is either 2n plus 1 or 2n minus 1, or you could use the letter k if you prefer. And then to get the next consecutive number, so say you had 2n plus 1, the next one would be 2n plus 3. That is your next consecutive number. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, and then press play when you're ready to see the answer. Great, fantastic. So here is the mark scheme, so you can see where the 2 marks were awarded for this question. So make sure you read through carefully and then send me a message if you need more information or help on how to answer this question. Well done. The question on coordinates and midpoint. So look through this question if you are a little bit unclear. I would recommend drawing out a quick sketch or a diagram to help you with any questions linked to coordinates and midpoints, so you can see clearly where the middle of the 2 endpoints are. So if you draw a diagram, and then you can work out where the vertical distance is, the horizontal distance and the distance in between, that will give you the midpoint. So work through the question carefully. Keywords are that M is the midpoint between A and B. So if you plot A and plot B, then you can find where M is. And N is the middle between B and C. So again, if you plot those 2 points, you can find the middle. You've got to work out the distance between these 2 points. So if you draw a line between M and N, and then you can use Pythagoras' theorem, that will help you work out the distance. So when you see that word distance, think Pythagoras. Remember to round your answer carefully to 1 decimal place, and this will give you 3 marks in the exam. Press pause and then press play when you've got an answer. Fantastic work. So hopefully you've managed to work through. Draw yourself a diagram to help you. Again, remember the formula for midpoint. You add the x coordinates together, divide by 2, and add the y coordinates together and divide by 2 will give you the midpoint. And Pythagoras is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So well done. Question on substitution. So that means that you're going to take a letter and you've got to put it into the other part of the equation to work out an answer. So press pause, have a go at working out the answer, and then press play when you've got an answer. Fantastic. So hopefully you've managed to take this equation here, and you've got to work out the value of t when m was equal to -3. So that means you just substitute the value of -3 into that equation. Remember, when you square -3, -3 times -3 is 9. So that gives you an answer of 9 times 4. Take away the 11 for the answer. This is a question on cubic graphs. Look at the keywords of the question, so you've got to complete the table, and then you've got to draw the graph. And this graph is exactly the same as the question in the table. So press pause and then have a go at working out the answer. Press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic. So hopefully the values in the table you can see, and you've drawn a nice smooth curve. This is a cubic graph, so it should be forming a smooth S curve going up, and you can see the points on the graph that you've plotted. Okay, well done. The question on equations to create and solve. So have a read through the question, look at the keywords. For example, we've got 8 identical regular octagons. So you can see these regular octagons all the way around the outside. They have got 8 sides each, and you can work out angles inside your octagon to help you. and you can work out lengths. You're told that the length is A, so you know each of these sides is all A, going all the way around the outside. And find an expression in terms of A for the area. Okay, so you need to split this up into different shapes. So you've got to work out the shaded area here. You can see you have got a big square in here. You know this distance is A, this distance is A. So you've got to work out the distance between here and here to work out the area of the big square. Then you've got some triangles in here, and once you've got the area of one of the triangles, you can work out the area of the others and add them together. You've got to leave your answer in this form here. And P is an integer, that just means it's a whole number. Remember to show you're working out for this question and it will be worth 5 marks. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic, so here is the answer, so you can have a look through to check that you understood how to get the answer of 4 bracket 2 plus root 2 all times by a squared. Well done if you got it correct. The question on equation circles tangents to circles. So you're told the equation of a circle and you have got to work out the radius of the circle, and this is worth 1 mark in the exam. Remember, the equation of a circle is x squared plus y squared equals r squared. So if you square root 4,225, you'll be able to work out the radius of the circle. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic. So hopefully you managed to square root that number to give you 6.5. Question on equations and tangents to circles. Keywords in the question that you've got to find the value of P. Make sure you leave your answer to 1 decimal place, and you must show all you're working out. Read through the question carefully, press pause, have a go at working out the answer, and then press play when you've got an answer. Remember, you can write on the diagram to help you. Key bits of information are already on your diagram. Draw on extra lines that you need to help you. So, hopefully, you've managed to come up with the answer of 2.5. Have a read through how to do it. If you need more explanation, please send me a message and I'll go through it in more detail. Well done. It's a question on equations and tangents to circles. Key bits of information in the question are you're told the equation of a circle. Remember, the equation of a circle is x squared plus y squared equals r squared. You're told P lies on the circle and the coordinate of P is 2.1, 2.8. The line L is the tangent to the circle at point P, and you've got to work out the equation of L, giving your answer in the form ax plus by plus equals c, where a, b and c are integers. That just means whole numbers. Now, if you find it helpful, draw yourself a little picture to show what's going on to make it easier. Remember, if it's tricky, draw a picky. Well done. So the mark scheme gives you this answer. So hopefully you managed to have a chance to draw it out and work out how to get the answer. So well done. The question on expanding a single bracket. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer. Press play when you've got an answer. Fantastic. So hopefully you managed to get the right answer of 4p cubed plus 12p squared. Remember to multiply everything outside the bracket by everything in the bracket. Good question on factorising expressions. Factorise fully the expression. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer. Press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic. So look at the mark scheme to see where the 2 marks were awarded for getting the answer. CAO is correct answer only, so you had to get it fully factorised correctly to be able to get the marks. The question on quadratic inequalities. So there are 2 quadratic inequalities that you need to solve, worth 5 marks. You've got to do it algebraically. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, then press play when you want to hear the answer. Fantastic, so hopefully you've managed to work out the answer. Here is your answer, check you're working carefully. This is a question on iteration. Keywords in the question is that you've got to show. Here's the expression and you've got to write it in this form. Then you've got to use a starting value of 1.5 and then you're going to use this expression here 3 times, so make sure you read the question carefully, to work out the solution to the equation. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic, so here's the rearrangement. C1 is a communication mark, so you have to show it carefully in order to get the mark. And then here is the rest of the answers. So give yourself a tick if you got them correct. Well done. This is a question on factorising quadratics using the difference of 2 squares. You will spot that it's the difference of 2 squares because there will be 2 terms and both terms will be square numbers. Remember, it's the same in each bracket and one bracket is plus and one bracket is minus, and you take the square roots of each of these terms of the a squared and the b squared to work out what is in each bracket. Press pause, have a go, and then press play when you've got your answer. Fantastic, so hopefully you managed to get the answer that you can see. Well done. This is a question on rearranging or make x the subject. In this case, it is going to be m. So we've got to rearrange the expression that you can see there to make m the subject, and this is worth 3 marks in the exam. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic. So hopefully you've got something like this. Well done. This is a question on recognising graphs. You'll be expected to know what each graph looks like. So have a go, see if you can match the description to the graph to work out what is going on. Press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Well done. These are the questions on sequences for a term-to-term rule, and it's looking at the Fibonacci sequence. Remember, the Fibonacci sequence is created by adding the 2 previous terms. So you've been told the first 4 terms of the Fibonacci sequence, and the sum of the first 5 terms of the sequence is 228. You've got to work out the value of A. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic. So remember, A plus 2A gave you the 3A, 2A plus 3A gave you the 5A, and then you could work out the next term, add them all together and solve to get the answer of 12. Well done. Look at the question on quadratic sequences. So you need to find the nth term or in the form an squared plus bn, where b and a are integers. You're told the second term, the 4th term, and you've got to work out the 6th term. Then you've got 5 terms of a different quadratic sequence, and you've got to work out the nth term. This is worth 6 marks in total. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic. Well done. If you need any more help, just let me know and I can go through these questions in more detail. This is a question on simplifying expressions and collecting like terms. So you're told he's got to subtract x squared minus 2x minus 4 from x squared plus 3x plus 5. You can see the working. You've got to explain what is wrong. This is worth 1 mark. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic. So C1 shows it is an explanation mark, it's a communication mark, so you have to use some words to explain what was wrong. You can see the reasons on the right hand side here. This is a question on simplifying. So rules of indices, make sure you know your rules of indices. So when you're in the brackets, you multiply the powers, and when they are multiplied, then you add the powers. So make sure you know your rules, have a go, and then press play when you're ready to hear the answers. Fantastic. So remember, CAO means correct answer only. So you have to be accurate. You have to multiply the 2 times the 3. And then the last one, you're just adding the powers. So well done. The question on simultaneous equations and solving linear simultaneous equations. So you've got to solve algebraically your simultaneous equations for 4 marks. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic work, well done. Question on creating simultaneous equations. So you've got the vector and you're told it's parallel to this vector. You've got to form an expression for b in terms of a for 3 marks. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic work, well done. This is a simultaneous equation where you've got a linear and quadratic expression. So you're told that the curve has the equation and an L, the line, has the equation of this. You've got to show algebraically that they have only one point in common. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic. So here are your answers. Remember, C1 is a communication mark, so you have to write in words what you are showing in order to get the mark. On this question, you've got a simultaneous equation with circles and lines. So you've got the equation of the circle, you're told some information about a point P, and you're told some information about the tangent to the circle at this point P and where it crosses the point on the x-axis at -8, 0. You've got to say, is Alex correct? This is worth 4 marks. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic. Remember, P1 is a process mark, C1 is a communication mark, and you need to use words to explain what is going on. Here's a question on solving quadratics graphically. So you've got the equation, and you've got to work out the estimate for one of the roots. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Remember, the estimate is where the graph crosses the x-axis. So they're looking at the 2 coordinates where you cross the x-axis. So that is this point here and this point here. If you read those off, gives you these 2 values. You can see there is a range on the answer. Well done if you got it correct. This is a question of straight line graphs and to do with gradients. So you've got key information, you've got to work out the gradient of the straight line. Remember, to find the gradient, it's the rise over the run, or the vertical distance divided by the horizontal distance if you draw yourself a straight line right angle triangle. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Remember to make sure you read your scale carefully. So here's the answer. Give yourself a big tick if you got it correct. Well done. This is a question to do with straight line graphs. So you've got to draw this equation here between -2 and 4 on the axis. You can do it using the gradient and the intercept point, or you can do a table of values, whichever you prefer. Press pause, have a go at working out what the graph looks like, and then press play when you've drawn your diagram. Fantastic. So hopefully you've managed to draw a diagram, created a table of values. You can see the coordinates there and give yourself a tick if you got those coordinates, and drew them and draw the straight line in between them. Well done. Here's a question on straight line graphs with parallel lines. So we've got 2 lines here, and Oscar says the lines are parallel. Is he correct? And you've got to give a reason for 2 marks. Press pause, have a think about your answer, and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. So, he was. You've got to explain why. Make sure you show M1 is a method mark, A1 for the answer mark. So well done if you got it correct. The question on straight line graphs with perpendicular lines. So you've got an equation here and you've got to sketch the line, or you've been told the sketch of the line, and you've got to work out the equation of the line that passes through Q that is perpendicular to L and passing through this point. Press pause, have a go at working out your answer, and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic, so the answer was y equals negative 2x plus 3. Give yourself a big tick if you got that correct, or comment below if you want me to give you some more explanation on how to do this. This is a question on distance time graphs. Have a read of the question. The key bits of information are highlighted in red, so you're estimating the gradient, showing your answer. Press pause and then have a go. Press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic, so here's your answer. Remember, C1 is a communication mark, so you have to use some words to explain what is going on. This is a velocity time graph. Keywords in the question are highlighted in red. You've got to say what the area represents. Press pause and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic work, well done.